Hello and welcome to 2-Day Rentals. Today, we are talking about one of my most favorite movies of all time. And that movie is Groundhog Day! Oh man, do I love this movie so very much. And it doesn't matter what time of year it is. It could be the middle of summer, it could be February 2nd, Groundhog Day. And you know what, I'm going to stop down and watch this movie if it's on. Now, when choosing to talk about movies here at 2-Day Rentals, normally, not always, I would maybe choose a movie that was a bit more rich in merchandise, right? Collectibles, things that we just love to get our hands on as fans of said movie. But this one's a little bit different. There's not really a ton of collectibles out there, but where it got it good, and it got it where it counts. If you haven't already, take the time to subscribe to my channel, hit the notification button, because you never know what I'm going to be discussing here at 2-Day Rentals. Picture me as your virtual video store, right? You come to me for maybe recommendations on movies or video games, and all the fun merchandise that we collect to coincide with the things that we love. So I'm so glad you're here. Let's jump in and talk a little bit about Groundhog Day. If you haven't seen Groundhog Day, I highly recommend it. I will do my best to break down the plot summary just a little bit. A weatherman played by Bill Murray is traveling to a small Pennsylvania town with his co-stars Andy McDowell and Chris Elliott to cover Groundhog Day. Now he's reluctantly going as he finds this task extremely boring, and well, unfortunate for him, he also finds himself in a time loop repeating the same day over and over again, and that happens to be Groundhog Day. This is a brilliant movie, written and directed by the late great Harold Ramis, and also written by Danny Rubin. It's hard for me to pinpoint when exactly I saw this movie. I know I didn't go to the theaters and see it, and I know I saw it at home for the first time, and I believe it was on HBO or something like that. And I think immediately when I saw it, I knew that it was something special.
Am I right or am I right? Or am I right? Am I right?
I gotta go.
Now, as far as all the different ways that you can watch this movie, you have some options. It was initially released on VHS in 1993 and went on to become one of the best-selling VHS tapes of that year. But since then, it's also been released on DVD and Blu-ray, but if you want my opinion, go for the 25th anniversary Blu-ray that came out in 2018. This version includes a really neat documentary called The Weight of Time, and guiding our way through that documentary is no other than Harold Ramis and Danny Rubin themselves. It also includes some other cast and crew members, but it's definitely worth watching if you're a fan of the film. Something else worth note on that Blu-ray is a documentary about the little animals, the groundhogs themselves, and I think it's totally cute and worth watching, so yeah, pick up that copy if you want. Now, if digital is your sort of realm that you operate in and you're kind of away from physical media, then you can download this. It does have all those extra features featured with it, so that's pretty cool too. Some notable little trivia nuggets that I found interesting. This movie was actually filmed in Woodstock, Illinois, and the temperatures were rather frigid, especially those first few days of filming.
What blizzard? It's a couple of flakes!
They said it was a cold just unlike anything that anyone had experienced, and they really felt they were in for quite the brutal shoot, but thankfully for them, the temperatures did warm up a bit, so it wasn't so crazy. Now, as far as the cast itself, there were a couple of other people that they looked at for the lead role of Phil Connors. One of those people was Tom Hanks.
Woo! Now everybody's watching us.
And Harold Ramis really liked the idea of having Tom Hanks play Phil Connors. But at the end of the day, Harold Ramis came to the conclusion that Tom Hanks is just a bit too likable, too much of a nice guy.
Think I'll go home now.
Now, as we all know, Bill Murray has the uncanny ability to sort of play it both ways seamlessly. Right? He's sort of a lovable asshole in a way, you know, the likable jerk, the nasty good guy. And he does it perfectly in this film. Someone else that they looked at to play the role of Phil Connors was Michael Keaton.
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
And Michael Keaton was sent the script and he said, well, you know, after reading it, it just seems a bit confusing to me, so I think I'll have to pass. Well, 3 years later, Michael Keaton, Andy McDowell, and Harold Ramis teamed up together in the movie Multiplicity. That one was directed by Harold Ramis. One little thing that I like to throw in there that I thought was kind of neat, the song that plays on the alarm clock every morning, I Got You Babe, yeah. So that song was part of the script the entire time. Danny Rubin just knew it had to be in there because it's known for having this very sort of dreamlike repeating chorus throughout the whole song. Which plays really, really well into the film. So I found all that stuff very, very, very fascinating.
Come on, make it fun.
I'm not normally a Funko Pop guy. Nothing wrong with them, they're fine, but it's just not something I collect. However, since there's so few Groundhog Day merchandise out there, I knew I had to have this because I just thought it was too darn cool to pass up. So not only do you get Phil Connors, you actually also get the Groundhog. And the fact that it comes with not only Phil Connors, but Pluxatony Phil, it's like a 2-for-1. It was just a no-brainer for me. And I love him. He's got his little Channel 9 microphone there, and he's kind of like, does Phil feel lucky? Well,
You're asking the wrong Phil. I'll give you a winter prediction. It's gonna be cold, it's gonna be gray, and it's gonna last you the rest of your life.
So a couple of other items that are worth noting as far as toys that have been released for Groundhog's Day are the vehicles. There are actually 2 that have been released. You have the police cruiser, which I find pretty cool because it's got the Pluxatony police emblem on the side. And you also have the Chevrolet C10 pickup truck, which is the one that Bill Murray sadly drives off the side of a cliff. Funny thing about that scene, here's some more trivia for you. The scene where Bill Murray drives the truck off the side of the cliff, I say cliff, it's more like a quarry, was a nod to Steven Spielberg's Duel. So for all of you movie buffs out there, there's a little tidbit of trivia for you. In 2021, they released a board game simply titled Groundhog Day, the board game. And essentially, you're replaying the movie and you're trying to help Phil escape his time loop in Punxsutawney. And I just can't believe that we actually got a video game that coincides with this movie. Now, it's a glorified sequel, really, and you play the role of Phil Connors Jr. He goes back to Punxsutawney to try to figure out what exactly was going on with his dad and solve the mystery behind everything that happened there, and he finds himself in very similar time loop situations. But have you had any experience playing that game? I would love to hear what your thoughts are on that. And I always love to spend a little bit of time talking about what if.
Well, what if there is no tomorrow? There wasn't one today. Hello? Hello?
You know, what if? What if we actually did get a sequel to this movie? Now, it's not gonna happen. I would say that the closest that we do have was the Jeep commercial from 2020, in which Tobolowsky and Murray reprised their roles, respectively, and the Groundhog Day VR game. It's sort of a glorified sequel. What about merchandising, though? Is there anything that we would have liked to have seen come out? We could play the What If game. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be really neat if they did something in the Super 7 reaction figure line. I mean, those things are great. They've made figures in that line for just about everything else. So, I mean, why not give us something from the Groundhog Day variety? I think that would be really neat. I mean, other than that, I really don't see what else you could really put out there. Maybe a real fluffy, furry Groundhog Day stuffed animal, that would be neat. You know, it's been a real pleasure being able to talk about this movie with everyone here. It's definitely on the top of the list of one of my favorite movies of all time, and I truly mean that. There's just not a lot of movies out there like it, and when I watch it, I feel like I get something new from it every time. And you may think I'm crazy, but I truly love this movie for the same reasons that I love a game like Dark Souls. It teaches us to persevere through trial and error. It teaches us that If we're truly in the moment, experiencing life as it comes, then we can get a whole lot more out of it. It's not always about doing it exactly right, but it's more about the process of figuring it out, and that's where we learn the most. And I think this movie does have a lot to say about that. You know that you could not have gotten there if it wasn't for several mishaps along the way. We certainly know that Phil Connors has his in this movie. He's stuck in this loop for about 10 years. 10 years. Can you imagine trying to beat a Dark Souls boss for 10 years? Sometimes I feel like I've taken that long to get through a part of a game, but it's all about the journey and the process. And once we get to that final destination, there's no time to rest. Let's persevere and keep pressing forward. And how do we strive to be better? Better humans, better husbands, better wives, better sons, better daughters. Those are things that we can find in ourselves every single day. And most of the time, we find those in areas we just didn't quite expect. Like Groundhog Day. It's a movie that really does mean a lot to me, and I hope that a lot of you that share that same love for the film reach out and let me know what you think. And I can't wait to see you again here at 2 Day Rentals. So, if you had to relive the same day over and over and over again, have you thought about what day that would be or how you would make use of that time? It's a pretty fascinating case study and I'd love to hear about it. So comment down below.